This is the accident, my mistake. Before I don't know the rules. Now I know the rules.
Oh my god, what happened to that guy that, you know, the guy that would throw salt in people's food? Salt Bae, that's it. What happened to Salt Bae?
But that's not all. In just a few months, Salt Bae went from viral butcher to global icon. Everyone knew the salt sprinkle. He was on every screen, every red carpet, every dinner table that wanted clout. But with the fame came the downfall. The quiet chef behind the counter had vanished, and in his place was a man obsessed with cameras, diamonds, and ego. It gets worse. Then came the World Cup. On the biggest stage in sports, Salt Bae crashed the field like it was his restaurant opening. He clung to players, waved trophies, and even tried to pose with Messi. But then everything changed. Messi, humble, respected, legendary, completely shut him down. No handshake, no smile. Just a cold brush-off that told the whole world, this guy's not part of the team. That one moment said it all. Here's where the real chaos starts. That snub wasn't just awkward. It was the start of Salt Bae's free fall. Fans laughed, memes exploded. He wasn't the cool chef anymore. He was the try-hard clown. Celebrities stopped visiting. Athletes ignored him. His fame had flipped, but things were about to explode.
You guys know Salt Bae. Well, did you know his fans bullied him so hard he now has to close down most of his restaurants? Salt Bae had one of the biggest memes of all time where he got famous for basically pouring salt on a steak in an odd way. And just from him pouring salt in an odd way, he made millions of dollars and became a meme overnight. And this action was so big, it was even put into Fortnite. Everything changed for him when it was revealed he's actually a terrible person. Because it was revealed that Salt Bae stole tips from 4 of his employees, and instead of paying them back, he actually fired all 4 employees.
And then came the Champions League disaster. Salt Bae crashed another after-party, trying to steal the spotlight yet again. But this time, security kicked him out, publicly. And then, total chaos. The videos went viral instantly. Salt Bae wasn't trending for his food. He was trending for being unwanted, uninvited, and totally out of touch. The internet didn't just laugh, it pointed. The mask had finally slipped off. That's when everything unraveled. It didn't end there. His nooses at restaurants kept popping up in cities like Dubai, Miami, and London, each one flashier than the last. But the prices? Outrageous. Just wait until you hear this part.
Salt Bae has been banned from the final of the US Open Cup after being slammed online for his World Cup final antics. The US Open Cup, which is America's answer to the FA Cup, tweeted about the ban, garnering a lot of attention. Salt Bae was videoed desperately trying to get Messi's attention, as well as handling the cup, which goes against FIFA's protocols as to who is allowed to touch the iconic and priceless trophy. Many football fans have been left wondering why Salt Bae was allowed onto the pitch in the first place.
$1,000 for a gold-covered steak, $15 for a can of Red Bull. It was all ego, no flavor. People weren't dining. They were buying bragging rights. Salt Bae turned food into a flex, and it gets even messier. Behind the velvet curtains and overpriced menus, something darker was brewing. The show wasn't about steak anymore, it was about Salt Bae himself. The real chaos starts here. Slow-mo reels of him tossing meat like confetti, strutting along cliffs like a luxury prophet. He wasn't feeding customers, he was feeding his own reflection. It spirals from here. The restaurants became his stage. The workers, background props. He banned them from sharing credit, muzzled their voices, and demanded total loyalty. Now, here's where the mask falls off. The public saw luxury, but behind the scenes, rot. His empire wasn't built on flavor. It was built on obsession, and it was starting to crack. But then everything changed. Salt Bae had it all. His own pose, his own restaurants, and millions of fans mimicking his every move. He thought he had made it. Here's where the truth hits hard.
Salt Bae has been banned from the final of the US Open Cup after being slammed online for his World Cup final antics. The US Open Cup, which is America's answer to the FA Cup, tweeted about the ban, garnering a lot of attention. Salt Bae was videoed desperately trying to get Messi's attention, as well as handling the cup, which goes against FIFA's protocols as to who is allowed to touch the iconic and priceless trophy. Many football fans have been left wondering why Salt Bae was allowed onto the pitch in the first place.
The real problem wasn't the fame. It was that he believed it. He started acting like a god, not a chef. And that's when the empire began to rot from the inside. It goes completely off the rails now. Sure, he's still rich. His restaurants still operate, but the shine is gone. The hype is dead. And his reputation? Crashing faster than a submarine implosion. The drama only gets deeper. People aren't laughing with him anymore. They're laughing at him. The once adored icon is now a walking meme. Only this time, no one's cheering. And it gets worse. His London restaurant was supposed to be the crown jewel. Back then, it had a months-long wait list. Now, it's bleeding money. Just wait until you hear this part. Profits have dropped nearly 50%. Review after review calls it a scam. Overpriced, overrated, underwhelming. A flashy facade with zero soul. It spirals from here. The $600 gold steak that once made headlines? Now replaced with a 39-pound lunch deal. That's not luxury. That's desperation. It turns darker from here. Salt Bae's brand was built on illusion, and now it's crumbling faster than his TikTok edits. He sold status, not steak. And the world stopped buying. But things were about to explode. Because the real scandals? They weren't on the plate. They were in the kitchen. Here's where the truth hits hard. And what came next destroyed whatever reputation he had left. This next part? Straight up wild. Former employees started speaking out, loudly. Brace yourself for this one. They accused him of running a toxic workplace, stealing tips, and punishing anyone who didn't worship him. One lawsuit claimed Salt Bae fired people just for disagreeing with him. And it gets worse. Another worker said he took staff passports to trap them. Not inspire them, control them. But here's the kicker. Nearly every employee told the same story. Salt Bae wasn't the fun-loving food icon the public saw. He was a dictator in designer shades. Things went downhill fast. And once those claims hit the internet, there was no coming back. It didn't end there. At the 2022 World Cup final, the biggest event on the planet, Argentina had just won. Messi and his team were celebrating. And then, total chaos. Salt Bae stormed the field, grabbed Messi's arm, and tried to steal the spotlight. It was the ultimate crash of ego into reality. It turns darker from here. Players ignored him. Security didn't stop him. But the world was watching and judging. And then, total chaos. He didn't just beg for selfies. He yanked the World Cup trophy like it belonged to him. He posed, he smiled, he preened like he scored the winning goal himself. The drama only gets deeper. FIFA had to launch an official investigation into how he even got on the field. Fans around the world were furious. For the first time, Salt Bae wasn't seen as entertaining or eccentric. He was seen as disrespectful, selfish, and out of control. The real chaos starts here. Salt Bae wasn't just a crasher anymore. He was the clown who ruined a sacred moment in sports. His need for attention turned him into a meme at best, a nuisance at worst. But wait, there's more. In 2025, he tried the exact same stunt, crashing the Champions League after party. This time, nobody was laughing. It goes completely off the rails now. Just like before, Salt Bae tried sneaking into VIP sections, desperate to be seen. But this time, the game had changed. And then came the bombshell. Reports confirmed what the crowd already felt. He was booted out. Security didn't hesitate. The world had finally caught on. Salt Bae wasn't special anymore. He was embarrassing. Here's where it really explodes. The internet exploded in applause. The gimmick was done. The magic had died. People were over it, and brands didn't want to touch him. The hero here wasn't one person. It was the public saying enough. Salt Bae's downfall wasn't sudden. It was slow, painful, and very, very public. And that's when everything unraveled. As the hype vanished, his team scrambled. Quiet discounts started popping up. Lunch deals, smaller portions, accessible menus. It goes completely off the rails now, but they never announced it. No apology, no pivot, just silent panic in the background. It wasn't reinvention, it was retreat. Here's where the truth hits hard. The man who once said price didn't matter was now slinging 2-for-1 steaks. But online, you'd never know. Salt Bae's Instagram was still dripping in gold, still calling himself the best. It spirals from here. In real life, diners were walking out mid-meal. Online, he was living in a fantasy world of filters and fake applause. But things went downhill fast. Salt Bae wasn't just selling steaks anymore. He was selling a lie. A fantasy of fame, money, and perfection. The drama only gets deeper.
Remember, he always used to cut meat in a really seductive way and dull his knife by slamming it on the wooden hard surface. I remember in 2017, he was huge. Everybody was sprinkling their salt like this. He has 53 million on Instagram. Oh my God, really? He turned that sprinkling meme into a restaurant empire. Well, apparently the restaurant wasn't that good.
Every gold knife, every diamond watch, every choreographed video wasn't about food. It was about feeding one man's ego. But the world wasn't hungry for it anymore. Now here's where it really explodes. Salt Bae's brand became a shrine to himself. A temple of luxury, not flavor. But then everything changed. The moment people stopped screaming his name, the whole illusion cracked. Fans finally asked the obvious, is this guy even a chef? Or just a narcissist in designer boots playing with meat? It spirals from here. In the beginning, he was quirky, almost cool. But over time, the act got old. The slow-mo cuts, the sunglasses indoors. Just wait until you hear this part. What once felt iconic now looked pathetic. The laughs stopped, the cringe began, and the fall was brutal. And then, total chaos. TikTok roasted him, YouTube mocked him, memes crowned him the final boss of cringe. It didn't end there. Instead of adapting, he panicked. More gold, more noise, more empty stunts. It wasn't branding, it was a breakdown in slow motion. It goes completely off the rails now. He couldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. Salt Bae was trapped in the character he created. He didn't know where the show ended and real life began. And that's when the tables turned. Because when the internet decides you're a joke, you don't get to argue. It didn't end there. Salt Bae's rise wasn't about food. It was performance. It was ego. It was clout. But fame built on smoke always burns out. Now here's where it all falls apart. He tried to be a celebrity first, a chef second. And in the end, he wasn't either. The drama only gets deeper. The viral clip became a meme. The meme became a brand. But the brand? It became a joke. It goes completely off the rails now. Salt Bae still has restaurants, fans, and followers. But the love? It's gone. The respect? Buried. The real chaos starts here. Today, he's not celebrated. He's barely tolerated. He's mocked more than he's admired. And unless he completely transforms, his legacy won't be about food or fame. It'll be about obsession. The mask has fallen off. Salt Bae wasn't a chef. He was a meme. And that moment, it's finally over.